Your subscriber or viewer count doesn't matter. It's all about who watches your content and the kind of value they extract from it. My approach to this is very business driven. It's not really about the art stuff. I leave it to more creative folks. This is very business oriented content about how you can then influence the market expansion. How can you generate qualified leads for your brand partners? And how can you use the value that you provide to your viewer to attract additional investment to grow your business? Now let's dive into why these three factors really matter for the future of your creator business, starting with the market expansion. Market expansion is an interesting topic right now in the creator economy because between all the data regulations, and for that I want to show you a very quick screen share. This is the map of all countries in the world that are currently working on some sort of regulation when it comes to the data management or the privacy laws. And as you can see, anything in this tan color are the countries that have no legislation, but all the other ones are currently either progressing through legislation, right, already have draft legislation in place, or maybe there's no data, which is non part of this world. Maybe Antarctica if it was on this map. But ultimately, the point that I'm trying to make is that you as a creator will be in a position to showcase to your brand partners that you have a much better connection with the audience that they're targeting than the brand itself. Because with all these regulations that I just showed briefly on the map, the brands will have less and less opportunity to go and directly target their targeted audience using the data, because all of these legislations will essentially limit their ability to parse and cohort the viewers of different content or the people who come to their website through paid advertisement or organic search. Creators will become the next best thing for any brand to get in touch with the right type of audience who seeks the value that the brand's product or service is providing. That's number one. Number two, AI. Very abused example. A lot of people cannot stop talking about it. But my only point with AI is that thanks to AI and a lot of other technologies, we can now cater to a lot more fragmented niches. So if in the past, when it came to content, it was hard enough to produce content, and so it was very rare and it was really focused at the general audience. Now, as the tools get better, as the process of democratization of the production of content gets better, you will find more and more unique niches that are very fragmented, that are focused on a very specific subject or a couple of subjects that only creators in that niche can target. And so if you zoom it all out and if you start thinking about, okay, but how does it tie to the value that I provide to my viewer and why subscriber count or view count does not matter, it is exactly for those reasons. Because from the perspective of the brand who is partnering with you, or from the perspective of you as someone who provides value to your audience, it's going to be a lot better for you to focus on the specific needs of that audience. Really ensure, kind of like coming back to my videos about jobs to be done, really ensure that you're delivering on that expectation that that audience has. If it's a very specific, like vegan cooking that is also gluten-free and some other categorization, right? You really cater to that audience, because if you cater to that audience and you become their go-to resource, the value you provide per viewer is substantially higher than someone like Mr. Beast, who has to create content that essentially addresses millions and millions of people all over the social media, pretty much all over the world. You will be in a much better position because you're going to provide a lot more value. And that value, so that essentially margin of value that you're providing to your audience and the fact that you're so valuable to them, can be something that you can leverage to create better monetization opportunities for yourself. It can be through the products or different services that you're going to offer to your audience, through the brand partners, because they cannot target those audience to that extent because they don't have the data due to all these legislations that I showed. You will be able to provide that service to them, but for much higher fee, because again, you're much more targeted, and the kind of audience you can bring to their table for their specific product or service is a lot better than any other alternative out there. So because of this, even if you have a low subscriber count, or even if you have a low viewer count, if you target a very specific niche and you're really good at delivering value to that audience based on the expectations, you will succeed and you will have a lot more opportunities to monetize your creator brand and create opportunities for yourself to create that long-term sustainable business structure without the need of having millions of subscribers or millions and millions of views. This neatly brings us to the second factor, the qualified leads. And this is essentially an extension of the prior point, but specifically for the brands. Because if you are a marketer working for a brand, unless you're driving a really kind of like a PR type of campaign where you're just trying to get the name out there, you don't really care about the impressions, you don't really care about the number of views. You live and die as a marketer by the number of conversions, which is essentially a number of actions that you targeted this campaign to do. So if it's a sign up for a free trial, or in most cases, if it's a conversion to the actual sale, this is the only metric that matters. Your bosses, the bosses of your bosses, will not care necessarily about how many millions of people saw your ad campaigns, as long as you hit the target when it came to the conversions and the sales metrics that you as a marketer had on your back as you started the campaign. And this is where it's important for me to highlight this quick visual. There are various versions of marketing funnels. Like, I think every person who wrote a book on marketing tried to create that version of it. So this is like the closer one that I found for the specific point that I'm trying to make. If you think about any kind of like creator campaign that you see, if they're more working towards a general type of creator, and again, I use Mr. Beast as an example of someone who's really targeting a broad audience, most of those leads sit right at the awareness level. Essentially, those people who watch Mr. Beast content, they're not there to say, purchase SoFi product, which was one of the past sponsors for Mr. Beast. SoFi specifically targets as a financial services company, say students with the student loans, people who are trying to manage their debt. So folks who have some sort of need in the financial tools. 12-year-old hopefully doesn't have enough of credit card debt to worry about that or any student loans yet. So from that perspective, they're all kind of like sitting at this awareness level where they're just curious, okay, they saw the name and that's about it. And for some marketers, that's fine. For some marketers, they're trying to drive awareness type of campaign. So they're okay to get impressions at that highest level and that's about it. But again, especially in this current economy, and as someone who worked for plenty of CFOs, you need to show some results that are actual conversions and sales. And this is where marketers really care about these layers, right? Where you essentially move deeper into the funnel and people actually evaluating a solution and are ready to purchase. For a creator who is targeting a particular niche, who doesn't necessarily have, again, millions of views, millions of subscribers, but they're really good at that specific niche. Let's continue with SoFi and financial services. All of your content are like, say, short form TikToks and maybe long form videos about how to manage your student debt and how to plan it against all the other potential debts or bills that you have as a young 20-something-year-old who has just entered the workforce. If you watching that kind of content as a viewer, you're really interested in improving your situation. So SoFi going and advertising against the creator's content in that niche will be a slam dunk fit because those people already went through all of this. They're at this point where they're trying to figure out the solution to their problem. So they're at that level of intent and evaluation. So for you as a creator, you're almost like serving qualified leads on a silver platter to the brand who will be happy to take them on because yes, you will charge them more. It will cost them more to go and spend number of dollars per lead compared to say number of impressions, just because of how the math works, right? You have a lot smaller crowd, you spend the same amount of money, but intent and the fact that they're ready to purchase is so important that they're going to drop into the conversion. They actually start buying or at least signing up for like a free trial at a lot higher rate. And so for the marketer, they'll look great in front of their boss because they'll be able to say like, hey, I've done such a great job at converting and I'm acquiring all these leads to hit our targets and I still stayed on the budget. And for you as a creator, you can charge a higher premium on those leads because again, they're qualified leads. They're at the bottom of the funnel. They're ready to purchase. And those in any type of business cost a lot more than some high level impression that again, more general type of content can generate. As part of, I used to work for Gartner back in the day. I was part of the business that was just doing that. The entire business was structured on the fact that like, hey, you can run SEM campaigns or SEO, you can improve your SEO, but you can just come to us and we will offer you higher qualified leads. But instead of paying maybe $2-3 for Google, you will pay us something like $10, $15, sometimes $50 per lead. But those leads will pretty much nearly guaranteed to convert once they arrived at our website. So you as a creator kind of like in a similar position. And so when it comes to thinking about targeting the niche and providing the value, once you provide enough value, you become that go-to person within the niche. you will be able to command a high premium to the brands who target that niche because of all of these factors that I just described. And this neatly brings me to my final point that I want to make. And it's all about how targeting the right niche and providing the high amount of value will make you a very interesting target then for the venture capital to invest to help you grow not only your creator brand, but potentially any kind of business you want to build in that specific niche. And for that, the reason is very simple. Access to deals and finding the right deals that are investable is the biggest challenge for the venture capital anywhere in the world. It's regardless of whether it's SaaS, whether it's some sort of like industry specific targeting VCs or creator economy, it all comes down to the fact that there's limited number of opportunities that are truly investable. Think about this distinction, which several VCs who I spoke to highlighted to me, especially in the creator economy, is that there's a big distinction between the creator who makes money and the creator who is actually an investable opportunity. The biggest differentiator between the two is that value that you provide to the viewer and how much of a potential ceiling you have in terms of additional business ideas that you can create. Anytime you touch a more general type of creator, usually they have to go into things like, again, candies, drinks, more general type of product for the consumption, maybe live events, things that in general just bring in the crowd. And that crowd, in some cases, might be interested in the product, in some cases, they're not, but they're still going to buy it just to support the creator. This is not an investable opportunity. No matter how big you are, it's not an investable opportunity for you as a venture capitalist unless we're talking at the scale of Mr. Beast, where you can justify and say, hey, although me investing in this creator directly does not necessarily yield anything, but there might be some tangential opportunities that will come up just by association with this creator. There's maybe like 5 creators in the world who this works for. For everyone else, it's all about that value that you currently provide to your audience and how big of that margin the venture capital has to go and tap into to provide the expertise in their investment to help you extract more value for your brand from that audience. And when it comes to very specific niches, if you're very targeted in a niche, you have that name, right? We went through all of these steps that we just described earlier. You will have a very good sense for what else is missing in that industry. And it can be any sort of thing, right? It can be services, it can be products, it can be digital goods, it can be some sort of like a consulting type of brand that helps other brands who target that niche. There are a lot of angles that you can take. And because of the specificity of the niche and your expertise in it and that name, and the fact that you've been providing a lot of very good value to that audience, that will make you a lot more attractive for any kind of investor, because when they'll look at you and they'll say, okay, they understand the industry, they're very specific in this, they have a name recognition, and now say they have an idea for a very specific type of brand product that can target that audience. Coming back all the way to my earlier point about, say, if it's cooking channel but specifically for vegan and gluten-free type of products, are there enough meal delivery services in that space? And could that be a potential opportunity that investor comes in and helps you create, and that's the business that you grow? Can there be some sort of a specific series, maybe something that you co-invest to create a brand around pre-frozen, prepared meals, right? There's different angles that you can start taking on this, maybe some sort of like ingredients that are hard to find to support that kind of lifestyle. Maybe instead of pre-made meals, you go and you deliver the actual products, right? You can start taking those angles. You can start exploring ideas by how you can augment or expand the value that you offer to the audience. And as you augment and expand it, and you take the investment from the VC, you can then extract a lot more value from that market, enrich yourself, and hopefully create that long-lasting, sustainable business in the creator economy, and also provide additional value to the VC, who of course requires some sort of return on investment to justify the fact that they say gave you a couple of $1,000,000 to build that business. All of this is a lot better handled within those niches. And when those conversations happen, almost never or very rarely do they focus on things like views, subscribers, and things of that nature. It's all about, are you providing enough value, and is there enough ceiling in there to make it an investable business? And I've heard plenty of stories about creators out there who have less than 500,000 subscribers, so relatively small audience compared maybe to some of the other major names that you're aware of, but they've built multi-million-dollar businesses which are making $10-20 million annually, and those are amazing opportunities for the investors come in if that's something you're interested in. So to wrap it all up, coming back to the very original thesis for this video is that this is why subscriber counts, viewer counts become less and less relevant, because as those niches develop, as we discussed, thanks to all these data regulations and also AI technologies and just in general expansion in the world of the internet access, as those niches start to develop further and further, creators will have a lot more opportunities to focus on those niches and become subject matter experts and provide that outstanding, amazing value to the audience. And as they do that, they'll be able to command a much higher premium to the marketers who want to target those audience, because those regulations will limit them, and also because you will have such a close touch to that audience. And finally, because of the fact that you provide so much value and you have that close touch, you will know exactly what is missing in that industry, and that will be an opportunity for you to turn around and potentially explore an opportunity for someone to invest in your business or create a business with you together, fund it for you to expand and augment the value that you provide to that niche, and become essentially that more standardized business that is long-term, sustainable, that provides value to the audience and provides you with a peace of mind that in the future you have a job, even if you don't get all those like millions of views, but also from the perspective of potential opportunities. As you grow, you can explore things like co-investment, building more businesses, expanding to other niches, selling your business. So many things will open up for you as you become that subject matter expert that provides that outstanding value to the viewer, instead of someone who focuses on just generating extra couple of clicks. So I hope this was useful. Again, it's a little bit of a tangential business discussion, but that's something I think is very relevant to a lot of creators who are trying to become full-time creators and might not know how to approach, or really are scared about their future potential because of the fact that their viewer count is not as high as someone on the trending page. So don't worry about those things. Focus on providing and maximizing the value to a viewer, and everyone else will follow. Let me know in the comment section below. If you have any other questions, if you want to talk specifically about your channel, about the brand that you're building, I just do it for free. I love chatting about these kind of things. I'm not selling any courses or any consulting services. So let me know in the comment section below if something you're interested in. Hit me up on other social media, and I'll see you next Saturday. Peace.